to manifest something specific, then odds are you did it from your three-dimensional version of self. That's why in this video you will learn how to do it successfully from your four-dimensional version of self. Yes, you do have 4D version of you as explained in Neville Goddard's Out of This World book. And by the end of this video, you will learn 4 lessons how to manifest from 4D version of self and practical steps how to get what you want faster. So let's get started. So what is 4D version of me? Well, let's start with math. In math, as you know, you have 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, and infinite dimensions, as many as you would like to. And most of it feels quite theoretical. However, imagine this. 1D would be a dot. 2D could be a line, could be a square. 3D, it could be a cube. In 4D, well, we cannot show you 4D, but I can show you two-dimensional representation of a tesseract, which is, as you've seen here on the screen, which is two-dimensional. It's two-dimensional projection of a tesseract, which is 4D object. And as you see, it consists of cubes within cube. And mathematically speaking, it is possible that you have 4D version of you as well. There's no limit to it. And to imagine it more vividly, I loved how Neville approached this 4D version of you in a book. And he approached from perspective of time, which is not entirely correct, mathematically speaking. However, it is very useful for sparking your imagination. So now imagine that your 4D version of you is like you, all of your past, present, and future version of you simultaneously. And if I meet you, 4D version of you, I meet all of you, all of your versions instantaneously, simultaneously. And that's the 4D version of you. Imagine that. Everything in the past, everything in the future, instantly. I get to meet that. Or at least my 4D version is always meeting that with your 4D version of you. And this kind of introduces this question of, well, what if this 4D version is my soul? What if it's God? And it actually makes sense that since we have these unexplained phenomena like seeing future, predicting future, and all other things, could there be a dimension above us? And I'm not going to claim whether this dimension is 4, 5, or 122, whatever the degree is, but it does make sense that there is something higher than us, a dimension beyond the visible. And why not call it 4D, for sake of brevity? So let's get into 4 lessons how you can relate to this 4D version, which is literally your soul speaking to you. Because let's imagine, whether the soul or God lives on 4th, 5th, or whatever the dimension, it may be speaking to you through the 4th dimension of you, where there's more information, no time, and everything you want and ever can imagine. So let's get down to the lessons. So the first lesson is thinking 4th dimensionally. This reveals the process. And what does it actually mean? Well, I'm happy you asked. Because what it actually means is being thankful and seeing reality as rigged in your favor, which is literally means that you trust and have faith that four-dimensional version of you is always guiding you, even if you don't see it, don't perceive it, and there is no conclusive evidence of it. You do believe that it's guiding you to your dreams and vision fulfillment. And it's speaking to you through your heart and desires. So desire means having, as Neville says, and desire is promise from God. And that's why every time desire arises, you be thankful. Thank you. Thank you, Father. Thank you, 4D version of me. Thank you, my soul, whatever you love. And you also see that reality is working in your favor. That this 4D version of you is always communicating to you how you can get in the fastest, most flow-based and loving way to your desire fulfilled. So let's get practical. So what does it mean to think four-dimensionally? Well, first, you receive a desire. And if you feel that you don't have a desire, then why not ask for it and set a goal by asking to your heart, what do you want? Wait for the answer. Practice asking to yourself as often as you can, what do you want? Ask to your soul, to your heart, to your highest self, whatever you like, knowing that it speaks to your heart. And this question, what do you want, is actually one of the most powerful questions I daily ask to myself. It has saved me many, many, many hours of misfortunes, failed deals, and all kinds of other business misfortunes and also personal relationships. Imagine an angry client comes to you. It's clearly that this client doesn't want something and they're willing to do something about it. The question is, what do you want? Because depending on what do you want, conversation, engagement can be very, very different. If you merely want to get over the conversation, you may have a defensive role, agree with everything. Maybe you want to prove them wrong, maybe you want to keep the prestige or some kind of image of yourself. You might get a bit aggressive. Well, that could be a different kind of conversation, engagement, and outcome. Or maybe you want to find a win-win solution and nothing else you would settle for. A completely different scenario. Therefore, it's very important to be clear what is it that you want by consciously remembering it, by asking, what do you want? So practice this. Really powerful question. And now, another practice which is really powerful is to really establish this connection with your highest self, to God, through practice of gratitude. And another way how you can practice it is by imagining how does it feel to have it, and then being thankful for it, of course. So ask yourself, imagine yourself having it. And by imagining, you directly connect to that version of you that is already having it. And from this space, you can start taking aligned action. And from this space, you can ask yourself, what is your next step? What is my next step? Because you do want to take action. Aligned action. So use this three-step process. What do you want? How does it feel to have it? So you align with that version who's already having it. It's like picking a mentor. You don't want to listen to advice from someone who hasn't been there. That would be stupid. and would be as smart to follow advice from someone who actually has been there. And the fact is that you do have access to someone who has been there. Your highest version of you, your 4D version of you. There's no time. You already done it. So all you need to do is connect to this version by simply asking, how does it feel to have it? And once you feel having it, you know you're connected. And from this space, you can ask yourself, well, what's my next step? Because that's all you really need to take that next step. And you can always ask, once the step is done, what's the next step? And it's okay also to ask for the full picture. There's nothing wrong with that. However, don't get upset or assign any meaning at any given point. You may not receive the whole picture because maybe you don't need it at that moment. You definitely don't need it because for you to achieve anything, if you follow this process, connect, connect with your goal, set a goal by receiving it, connect with the part which already has received it, and take the next step. So that's what it means to think fourth dimensionally. It means think in terms of what you want. So now that you know that there's nothing can stop you from getting what you want, because desire means to have it, let's get there faster. Let's learn how to have a leverage over this process. Because if you follow this three-step process, which we outlined just now, you are guaranteed to get what you want. However, we don't want to just merely have it. We want to get there faster. So let's find the leverage. And as Neville says, the leverage to get anything manifest is through your concept of yourself. And your concept of yourself is the high leverage point. And let me show you Robert Dill's model and show you how it shows up in reality. So this is Robert Dill's model. As you can see, it starts with the environment, behavior, capabilities, values, identity, which is where we're going to stop, and vision. So imagine this is you, like a person, flowing and swimming through the physical reality. So you have physical reality in the bottom, and you get to choose which is the environment you want to be in. Should I go to New York? Should I be in London? Or maybe I should travel to Tokyo. You get to choose where you are. And well, the question is, who are you? Well, your identity determines who you are. And for most people, that's the ego. Nothing wrong with the ego, it's just your identity. And it looks like, it appears so, that our identity is kind of managing this pyramid. Our identity determines where do we end up staying. Let's say there's a holiday, business trip. Is it New York, London, Tokyo? I don't know. Who knows? Well, I suggest you think four-dimensionally and you connect to your soul. And why do I call this the high leverage point? Well, you can see from this graph that identity is on top, very top. But identity is basically funneling this vision from the soul, because where's the vision coming from? Not from identity. Identity is picking the vision that flows from infinite soul purpose. So imagine there's an ocean of your vision, but at any given moment, your identity, your perception, can perceive just a tiny projection of it, like a tesseract, like just a tiny version of it. And since you're limited to only tiny proportion, and since identity is the one who picks what gets seen, identity, practically speaking, is the bottleneck. and a high leverage point. Because if we're able to tune our identity to the most efficient point at any given moment, then we achieve the most result for the least effort. So yes, it is a bottleneck and highest leverage point at the same time. So we use it by working with our identity, by picking where am I? Like where am I? Like how will I show up? Let's say I have a business meeting. Let's get practical. An example. Let's say I have a business meeting coming up, and for whatever reason, I'm given a choice. Where do I want to have it? Is it going to be online or in person? Its environment. Where do I want to be? I get to pick. And what kind of clothing I will wear? How will I show up? I get to pick. Or I get to decide my subconscious part of it. Just pick whatever, not second guess, not think anything. Don't put any consciousness in it and just go with the flow, without consciously choosing. I can do that. Nothing wrong with that. The question is it aligned? Is it efficient? Maybe I should learn something. Maybe I should practice. Maybe I should practice my pitch. Maybe I should practice my presentation. And maybe there are some beliefs associated. What do I want to believe? What is important in this meeting? And who am I going to show up with? Who am I? You know? And why am I even showing up? Like, why do I care? What's the vision? Like, what's the outcome? Why do I want to have a meeting in the first place? And all these questions get answered by asking them and listening to your heart. And basically kind of channeling or tuning in to your soul purpose, the 4D version of you. And then acting out in physical reality. So let's see what kind of practice you can do. And very simple. Very simple. Practically speaking, ask yourself, who must I be to have it? So in the first step, in the first lesson, we learned the process. So the highest leverage point is you deciding, who are you? The person who gets what you want. So who must I be to have it? And that's the highest leverage point. Because your concept of yourself is creating your reality. And that's what it meant by assumption becomes fact. You assume your highest leverage identity. You assume the person who you are, who's already having it. And by being that version of you, you become and create a reality around it. And you turn the bottleneck into your highest leverage point. So now that we know, now that you have discovered who you must be to get what you want, to achieve your vision fulfilled, I'm sure you want to get there even faster, because there's always, how do you know if you got it right? Well, you need some feedback, right? And that's what this stage is about. It's about revealing your current concept of self. It's about, okay, I know where I need to be, but where am I? It's like building a map, roadmap, or plotting a GPS course. Either will work. And what I learned from Neville Goddard, there's three main ways how to reveal your concept of self. And one is through feeling how aligned or how separated you are from your desire. Let's say that meeting. You don't, all you really need to have a successful meeting and see how aligned you are, you can practice this all in advance, in your imagination. Because that's why this section is called Power of Imagination. Because you can practice. You can reveal your concept of yourself in advance. You can see how aligned you are in advance, in your imagination. And here's the distinction. When you're aligned with your 4D version of yourself who's already having it, you feel, you sense, you see that it's right here and right now. There's no separation. I'm already having it. It's happening right now. It feels here. And as opposed to that, separation feels like, well, it's not here yet. I still see it in the future. That meeting, 1 month from now. That meeting, not yet. It feels a bit in the future, not now. And also, it feels, well, it's not here. It's in New York. It's not here, no. It feels, and maybe if it feels close, like it's really close, like I feel you standing almost in a room, but that's close. That's not being in here. Maybe I can see myself as a third person viewer. Again, this is really close, but there's still a bit of separation. And there's no guilt and shame of gradually closing the gap and moving closer and closer. Do that. It works. However, know that there's always better. There's always more connection. And there's no limit how aligned you can become. You can become always more present and more aligned with your vision. So keep striving if that's what you want. Because at some point, your 4D version of yourself will tell you it's enough. Move on. Take the next step. Use a different tool. It's enough. You are enough. You're close enough. So that's how you measure how aligned or separate are you from your vision. Another powerful way how to see how aligned you are with your concept of self, with the version of you who already had it, and therefore version who will achieve it in this reality, is by observing. First, observe how do you see yourself? Is it easy for you to see yourself as being successful? How easy it is to feel it? Do you feel distracted? Do you feel resistance in going there? Do you maybe feel a bit of force, you need some forcing? And how do you see others? And most importantly, the highest leverage in here is how do you see others seeing you? So this is kind of gradual. And you can play with any and all of these parameters. And do you see others as congratulating you, being happy for you? Or you imagine others as being secretly jealous or resentful? And this goes in many, many levels because you can apply this technique not only in imagination when you consciously go and visualize and use as a practice, but you can use this same principle on a day-to-day basis because the fact is we are imagining 24/7. We're all imagining all the time, whether we like to admit it or not. Even now, when I'm speaking, you are trying to visualize, imagine something, whether it's my words, that pictures meeting in New York, which part of New York, how big room, who's in there, who would I invite there? Would they have capacity to go there? Maybe imagine others as not having enough money to travel to New York. The heck, maybe you see yourself as not being able to get there. This is all revealing your concept of self. Because ideally, of course you have money to go to New York. And of course, every single person has money to go to that event and it's in their best interest. Not only they have money to get there, It's in their best interest to attend this meeting and pay for it because they get something valuable out of it. And do you see others really enjoying the meeting? Do you see others looking to you with gratitude? How do you see others seeing you? And also, like, maybe you have few people in your circles, like specific business partners. No need to call them names. Who you feel like, well, that person could never go there. Like, or that person would never allow me to. Well, all these sayings like they couldn't, they wouldn't see me, they wouldn't allow me. These are the images of you imagine of them for you. So these fall in the categories of how do you see them and how do you see them seeing you. Or this person could never say thank you to me. They wouldn't do that. Why wouldn't they? Ideally, they would. If you gave something, if you really believe that you gave something valuable, why wouldn't? And you really believe that you are capable enough to communicate this message, why wouldn't they be thankful? They would be thankful because they would have received it. And why wouldn't they acknowledge that with a simple thank you? Of course they would. And this is how you think fourth dimensionally, by creating these ideal versions of yourself and others in alignment with your vision. Because it's easy to think in terms of reality, like what appearances of the past, and for most of us, it can be, at least in the beginning, laborious to think in terms of wish fulfilled and desire fulfilled. So this is the second, how you relieve and reveal your concept of yourself. And again, there's no guilt and shame of realizing and acknowledging that, okay, at the current, I'm not the version of me that actually can get what I want. Totally fine. Because at the moment you realize that you're not the person you need to be, you get to make a decision. I am this person who already has. You let go. The moment you will realize you're not the person at the moment who can get it, you release that version and instantly assume the version who is that person. It can be that simple. And it's also okay to go there gradually over time. Both versions will work. Just know that it can be instant. At times it's easy, and at times may not. So, another way how to reveal your concept of self is by tracking your attention. And you can practice in meditation, but in terms of for this four-dimensional thinking, it's not required. You just pay attention to what are your thoughts, like what are you thinking about? Is this thinking in terms of you moving you forward and closer to your wish fulfilled? Or are these thoughts already coming from place, already have achieved, they just need to do these steps? Like just needs doing, you know? Or maybe there's full of doubt, indecision, fear, whatever. Whatever you observe, it just reveals your current concept of self. That's it, it's just a feedback. And again, as before, you get the shift instantly. Thank you. Thank you for basically every time you catch yourself off guard, thinking yourself from 2D, 3D, and 1D dimensions of self, from past versions who didn't achieve the success you strive to achieve, you get to celebrate. Thank you for bringing awareness. I got back to this trap of thinking in terms of lack instead of abundance. Thank you. Now I get to choose abundance again. I get to choose it every single second. So thank you. It's revealed. And when I talk about attention, it's really important to pay attention what you pay attention to. Because your attention is literally energy source. Your attention energizes and literally creates reality around you. That's why it's really important to know what are you creating and be mindful. What are you creating? And as in our business meeting example, are you creating harmonious meeting or you're already projecting, imagining and expecting arguments, hiccups and some misfortunes on their way? And there's nothing wrong with preparing in advance for all kinds of things that could go wrong just to make sure that it's planned for and guaranteed to succeed. And it's very easy to also recognize when are you thinking in terms of outcomes and solutions or when you're thinking in terms of problems and obstacles. It's very simple to feel that because there's nothing wrong with seeing that, whoa, this for this trip to New York to happen, I need to book my tickets at least a week in advance because X, Y, Z, because how fast money goes or whatever the reason. It's it's not a problem. It's just a reality that needs to be accounted for. Again, you get to choose and pick. How do you relate to this fact? Where is your attention? Is it on solution or problem? And practically speaking, to practice receiving this feedback in most resourceful way, you can ask yourself, how do you feel yourself moment to moment? How do I feel right now? Listen to your heart. You can also ask, how do you see yourself seeing you? So this is the image of others. You see yourself. It doesn't matter. Like everything that happens in your imagination is your imagination. So you get to choose how do you see others in your imagination. And thinking four-dimensionally, you see them ideally. You see them in alignment with your desire. So ask yourself, how do you see them? And finally, do notice and ask yourself, where is your attention going from moment to moment? What are you creating? What are you feeding with your attention? Be mindful. Be still. And finally, let's go to the last lesson, which is there's no one to change but self. This lesson will allow you to literally make sure that the most important things are the most important things. So again, we have the process, three-step process. We know what's our highest leverage. Now we're getting feedback. And finally, we know which parts of the feedback are most valuable to us and which ones we need to discard. And this is what this lesson is about. And as I hinted before, the highest leverage is in imagining everything lovingly, yourself, others, and others' image of you lovingly. And avoid finger pointing trap. And now you might be thinking, what is the finger pointing trap? And what I call finger pointing trap is imagining people not lovingly. Let's say you have a specific person, specific business partner, and every single time you met them, they've always been having this remark which you didn't like, or they're always kind of like bad mood and kind of brings the vibe of everyone involved, or whatever the thing. And once you realize that there's no one else to change but self, you realize that you cannot change them, and you shouldn't. But there's one thing you can change in yourself. And what you can change is your image of them and your image of them seeing you. And why does this matter? This matters because if you see them as someone who's deliberately is basically being pain in the butt, or someone who's just, let's say, stupid, just plain stupid, or whatever the label you put on them, if you see them in this way, it will be very hard to relate to them lovingly. It will be very hard to mask and hide all the body language, micro expressions. It will be impossible to hide all of these things. And why would you? And that's where the high leverage and priority comes in. So instead of trying to micromanage, hide, pretend, and do all these games about how do I manage this person, the fastest way how to manage them is by imagining them lovingly and allowing yourself to accept that they also may see you lovingly. And this is the hack. And this is how you avoid finger pointing trap. Because it's easy to say, well, it's their fault. They always say this thing, so therefore they must change. And what I call this finger pointing trap is this is like saying, but they have to change so that I can have this meeting more harmonious. It's they have to do something. Well, the fact is, yes, they can do that, and they may or may not. We cannot control that. We might try to influence, we might become bossy, controlling, and basically become a pain in the ass ourselves in a process, which is not ideal and definitely not loving. So instead, we could face the reality that there's no one else to change but self. So yes, it might be pain in the butt, or they might show disappearance, they might pretend to be one, but essentially, all I can change is me. And inside me, how do I relate to them? How do I see them? And how do I see seeing them? And this is how I avoid finger pointing trap, because I don't need them to change anything. Because I change what I can change within myself, and I focus on controlling what I can control. And I let go everything that I cannot control, like their behavior, cannot control. I can ask them, I can suggest, I can provide information, but that's something I can do. I can put myself in a state, charismatic state, where they feel compelled and really want to act in this new loving way because they feel that's aligned with them. And I can only do that by changing myself, by putting myself in a certain state, projecting myself in a certain way, by imagining them lovingly and avoiding to projecting my power to someone else. And the practice, how to stay on a mindset of there's no one else to change but self, is to asking the simple and yet powerful question, how is this helpful? How is this helpful? Let's say the person says something, let's say, and you feel like this is not helpful. Well, I recommend that you stay curious. How is this helpful? And by staying in this curiosity state, you're more likely to find something helpful. You're more likely to see this helpful thing and come off in a way that's charismatic, in a way that gets you what you want, and gets them act in a way how you want them to act. So you get reality you desire. And let's say this wasn't helpful at all. That's also totally fine, because now you see that whatever they mention is not a priority, that's not the direction you want to go, and it's totally fine. You can go back to our formula and ask, okay, if this is not helpful, what is? What do I want? You follow the three-step process. You realize Is this helpful? How is this helpful? If not, then what is? It is that simple. So, now my question is, what are your takeaways? What do you want? How will your life be different after watching this video? Can you literally see your 40 version of yourself? Can you see timeline where you're on? Will this be your takeaway? Which is the question you will start asking yourself. So decide now. What will be different in your life because you watch this video? Take action from your heart and have it magical.